happens, and James starts the process. You can see some of the stuff he's working with here. He'll get build cards for each of the instruments coming through, and then it's his job to match up wood sets, make sure the side sets are going to match that back of the guitar, make sure that the size of the wood set is appropriate. On all our USA-made guitars, we do build with one-piece necks. So whether it's a USA series at $14.99 on up to Masterclass, all the Bedells, it's going to be a one-piece, either Hunter and mahogany necks, or we use Eastern hard rock maple for those guitars that have maple necks. So out of a piece of wood like this, we would get two necks out of it, just kind of nested together. If we get bigger timbers that need to get resawed down, we have a resaw machine, a thickness sander, so they're just kind of refining some of the wood before it goes over to the build process. They'll do things like make all the braces over here. So there's still a ton of handwork that's going into these. They have this stationary router so that they'll actually scallop the bracing off of this router here. This is our first Breedlove ever built. So first Breedlove that we built, this is a guitar that we built for benefit Jane Goodall. So the inlay is of Jane Goodall and Upland Gorilla. And then the Exodus is one of the most famous guitars that we've built. This was the 10,000th guitar that we built in Breedlove, and Kim did the majority of the work on it. It's got very intricate inlay. If you look inside, there's actually inlay on the back of the guitar.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So this was incredibly, it was a big labor of love for Kim. So this is going to be the start of the process where they're taking the raw wood that James brought over from the other building and starting to actually give it form. So some of the things that you'll see are going to be basic things like rosetting the tops. We have Jamie over here doing thickness sanding. So the template that they'll use to brace up an instrument. Depending on the woods too will determine if it's going to require more or less bracing. Like you'll see cedar and redwood here written here, so they require a little more hand bracing on them just because they're a softer wood. So all these machines that you see around you here, these are bending machines. So they are very specific body styles that we're going to bend the sides into. It's going to be a process of heat, water, and pressure. Depending on the wood, sometimes you have to soak that wood more than others to make sure that it's going to actually bend. Some of the woods, like striped ebony, zero crochet, anything that has high figure in it, takes a lot of babying. You have to be very gentle when you crank this down because they're cracking from the curve. If you consider, it's like one of the highest forms of manipulation of wood in carpentry, really, or woodworking and fine woodworking, I would say. So once the sides get bent up, they're going to go into these really hefty forms here, and then get a head block and a tail block put into them, and they'll sit in here for about 24 hours to make sure it's really getting that shape. Spaces in that curving, so that'll accommodate the end of the brace. It's not going to push out binding or something. And then one of the big things that he'll do is our flat top guitars aren't 100% flat, so there needs to be a slight angle on those sides so that when you put the top on there, that's not going to be gapping. And all the folks in this department are going to be putting some of the more aesthetic touches on the guitars. So you have a guitar that's looking like this. So it's in its rough form. It is the guitar body. And Aaron will start refining it, and he'll give you a description kind of what they're doing with this process.
First step was to flush trim that and remove this excess material. I'm going to roll it on the sander here to again try to help flatten it out. I think that looked pretty casual, but you could go all kinds of wrong with that. You could destroy a guitar really quick. Then I'm cutting a channel here that's going to accept the tail strip. Going to cover up where the two sides come together. Neck will be covering up this joint here. And I put it on this vacuum chuck. Extremely handy. Uses vacuum pressure and gaskets to hold it into place. That way we're able to spin the guitar around. Series hand blocks, flatten out the sides from the wood being introduced in water and heat. You can get some rippling in it, not necessarily going to be flat. So making sure everything's nice and flat, feeling the contours. And then routing a set of channels into it to accept the binding. Robert's over here binding a guitar right now, where he's got the Oregon guitar. He's got one channel that's accepting a black binding, and then one that is accepting the herringbone. So it's a little stair step, a 1/4 inch deep, and then this 1/8 inch in to accept the herringbone. We use tape and a bunch of hand pressure to push it in, hold it into place. And then come back to it the next day and scrape it out with the most simple tool in the shop is a card scraper. You can feel that edge right here. It's got a little burnish to it. This acts like a blade and will scrape that binding flush with the body. You want to go through that step so that if you dive in it with a sander, the hard plastic is going to go away last and that soft wood is going to go away. You'll start getting dipped outside. So the steps I would have taken in flattening, that would have been for nothing. So this way you're maintaining a nice flat and also not thinning out the binding in your sand out.
Yeah.
Don't want to be chasing out any indiscrepancies the day after.
So y'all just, are you making the Breedlove, the Vidals all together here in one spot?
We will all work on the same product, but most of Jake Spiess over here behind us, he heads up the Vidal department.
Okay.
Vacuum tubes everywhere. Don't hold on to something crazy.
Do the sides over here.
Pretty smart. It's pretty ingenious how to be able to work on it.
Some binding process for master class concerto that's coming up.
Oh yeah.
So figure out where I want the orient, the koa, and slice them into 1/4 inch strips. Take them back over to the bender. They're going to bend them up just like the sides.
Yeah.
And we'll come back like so. Open them up and you got each side of the guitar. Particularly here's this one here is from 1994, getting a new top on it, and be doing the same. That blood would bind. You know, with the black, white, black purpling,
So
breaking
this
it up in
last,
between.
when you say you're redoing this?
We put a new top on it. So this has failed somewhere down the line.
So
Probably
y'all kinda
exposed it.
do warranty stuff in here too?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
Refinement at this point. So they'll take a neck that they got off the CNC machine. They're going to be putting a fingerboard on here. They'll put the logo inlaid into here so you can see. Is there one over there that was inlaid? And any of the inlay that is going to be like a standard inlay, they'll do it at this point. They'll have a fingerboard that's popular, so this is getting like the side dot, the position marker dot into it. If it's a higher end guitar, they'll do things like binding. What's going to happen at this point is they are going to set up the geometry with the neck and the body. We don't use any shims on our guitars, so it needs to be perfect at this point before it moves forward. So they'll set that here before it moves on to the finish department. They are going to go into one of our finish booths. So you have one here.
What's that?
People actually scream.
There's 3 of us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Jade's in there right now. Matt.
Who's the best?
Huh?
Who's the best?
I've been here 10.5 years, man. One of the top 5 longest guys here.
Like a body shop.
Yeah.
How many guitars do you do a day?
A day? Like I'm getting this rack ready for me to spray tomorrow. So like I'll do around 20 of them a day. So like I'll sand them out in a day. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I'll sand them out one day and then spray them the next day. And just kind of goes back and forth until we get that final top coat on there. So this is basically a sealer sand. So Matt puts on the sealer. Matt and Jade. And Jade will do the color on some of them.
Kind of like this boom light, John.
Yeah.
Kind of like this boom light.
Yep.
Especially radius tool there to help pound in those frets. They just have a tang on them, so they actually grip that wood. The way the inlay gets cut out, we'll take the shell material or whatever it is that we're using and put it on, just with wood glue, put it onto this composite board. We have a CAD program that then can position where we want the design to be, so you can choose different colors and the area, because that gives the inlay liveliness really. And then we have little CNC machines.
Oh wow. Oh my god.
Right. And some of that will have been routed out onto
Not that end. That finger goes.
Yeah,
Abalone, green,
That's my favorite. Oh, that one's pretty too.
abalone.
Yep. And there's different kinds of abalone, so you'll see that like some of them will grow in real tight circles and some of them will be real washed out.
So a lot of this is material that will be used on custom inlays, the actual real shells. So you have the mother of pearl, the golden mother of pearl. This is a brown mother of pearl, a Tahitian black mother of pearl. There's different. It's also his birthday.
Uh-oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
How young are you today?
I'm 40 going on 23.
Awesome.
You don't look for it.
Thanks.
Do you feel 40?
Not really. Not yet.
Not yet.
Sure I will. At any rate, let me pause my medal here.
Okay. Make it death.
That was a pretty good record.
Yeah, it was a good record.
Aren't you in a metal band?
I'm in a rock band, but not a metal band.
Okay.
Yeah. We're not as heavy as Megadeth.
So, this is our Discovered concert, which is a fairly popular import. Is,
That's just so you know.
for the
this is-
price. that-
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's the
Oh
other
yeah,
one.
the danger zone.
Stallions.
First thing we do is we log everything. Obviously, you know, accountability and all that stuff. We do a little bit of a paper trail in case something gets lost or what have you. We just log everything that comes over our bench, whether we're QCing it, putting it back to stock, whether it goes A stock, B stock, etc. So we write it down, we log it. First thing I'm going to do is just give it a little visual inspection. Kind of wipe down, see if there's any tuner oil or any fingerprints, major scratches or dings or any of that. And this one looks pretty good.
Is there certain key points that you look for as far as for that?
When I'm just doing a cosmetic inspection, that's kind of encompasses all of it. I'm looking for any kind of cracks, any kind of post cure, any trouble with the finish itself, any blemishes of any kind, or cracks of any kind is really what I'm looking for. So
if there's anything, what do you typically see if you do see it as an error?
You'll see finish cracks occasionally on the bridge tips here. It won't B-stock that normally.
Right.
You'll see just the occasion, like maybe something under the finish, you know, like a discoloration under the finish. That kind of thing is pretty common. I mean, we don't B-stock a ton of them,
Yeah.
but when you do, that's kind of the stuff you see. Or occasionally you'll get a chipped headstock just because of, you know, due to shipping.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff you can't control. This looks fairly clean. I like it. You kind of want to take a mental note of anything that you need to clean up because you want to do setup work first. Because if it doesn't set up right, what's the point in doing cosmetic work?
Right.
So
Looks pretty. Doesn't sound good.
right, yeah. Okay. Check my string spacing, which with our pinless bridge is pretty much a no-brainer. I love that.
Yeah.
You know, because with bridge pins, sometimes you can tuck in there and twist it just a little bit,
Right.
and it will throw off your string spacing. So here, we're going to take it up to tension and let the guitar tell us what's wrong with it, if anything. Close enough for checking.
Guitar tech.
Now, we're going to check our height at the 14th fret. It's supposed to be at 3/32 on the bass side and a 64th on the treble side. That's measuring out about a 30-second high. So I'm going to check the relief here. The relief and the neck angle really is what I'm checking here.
Yeah.
Relief looks good, neck angle looks pretty good. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is take the tension back off, and I'm going to take 1 30-second off of the saddle. That should help, or should fix, you know, alleviate your height issue. And then we'll play test it. And if it doesn't buzz, we're going to wipe it down and ship it.
There you go.
Watch your mouth, fellas. We're making a movie. I got jokes, but nobody laughs. So if you do this a gazillion times, you really don't need to measure it. It's like an old construction technique. Just make sure you get it marked at about a 32nd of an inch. And when I'm training guys, I always teach them to check anyway.
Yeah.
I've done it so many times that I normally don't bother, but just for construction's sake, it looks like just about more than a 32nd that I've marked there. So I'm going to take it down to where I can just barely see the line.
Gotcha.
And that should put us where we need to be. We go over to the grinder, you got your Glasses on,
Safety.
good. One side, you flip it over to make sure it's nice and level. And just trim the burrs off. That looks good and flat. And what I'll do is I'll normally just hand sand it just on this little bit of 400 I got laying here.
Smooth.
Knock the burrs off either edge. There's a good rule of thumb. Just kind of daylight it is what we call. To make sure we're not getting a whole lot of light through there. So it looks pretty good and flat to me.
Okay.
More important to do that on the ones that have electronics because of the PA zone where it's going
Oh,
to
that
fit.
makes sense.
Let's mess it up. Sorry, Eric. What? I put stuff in your way over there. Pop that back in. Their height looks good. Generally, you know, if you get that trimmed off and you put it back down in there and it's buried in the channel, you've got a neck angle issue.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Yeah.
But we've got enough of the saddle still showing that everything looks a-okay so far. So we'll take it back up to tension and we'll see what's going to play next. I was taking a little bit sharp, a little stretch as you tune it.
That's the way to do it.
That sharp, that's much better. Again, accounting for string spacing while I'm doing this. Now we'll give it a little fine tune.
You got perfect pitch yet?
I get close.
Figure if you tune enough of them, you kind of get there.
Yeah. And I listen to a lot of 80s and 90s thrash metal, which is mostly all of the key of E, so
Yeah.
it's pretty.
You're right.
So now, check our height one more time here. There we go. Now we're measuring right at about 3 there. And 2 there, which is 64. It's a little bit high on the trip side, but it's passable. Let's give it a shot. Little performance anxiety there.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds alright to me. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. We're going to wipe it down. I'm going to wipe the fingerprints off the tuners.
Yep.
And I don't see any kind of scratching or hazing. If I did, I would hit it with some of this, which is basically
It's glaze.
Wizard is the name of the company that makes this stuff. And it's a really good product for any kind of poly finish. That's what's in that bottle.
Gotcha.
So if there's any kind of haze or scratch,
Is that
that's
available?
the stuff to have.
Is that available to consumers, or is it only for wholesale? Or
I'd have to make up an answer to that because I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can ask Terry.
Yeah, Terry, no, for sure.
someone might want to know that.
A little bit of naphtha, which is
So do you get
Guitar
paid
water.
for that endorsement?
no, but I should, right?
Yeah, you really should.
This QC's been brought to you by.
Right.
Yeah.
Use Wizard. But this one's good. Oh yeah, and our finishing touch here. We always put a little inspection label in there. Let people know it's been set up proper. Very technical piece of equipment here. I like to refer to it as a sticker. Or a label applicator if you want to get technical.
I like
Just like that. And you put, brought to you by Diodario.
Yeah.
Back in there. We're all clean. We sound good. We'll wrap it up and we'll ship it out.
That's it. Awesome.